British Prime Minister Boris Johnson says he will not resign following damning revelations in a report investigating parties at Downing Street during COVID lockdowns. The Prime Minister faced a hostile question time in the House of Commons after details emerged of partygoers' excessive drinking, mistreatment of staff and violence during the rule-breaking festivities.
Mr. Speaker, this is a damning report about the absence of leadership, focus and discipline in Number 10.
Party over, time to face the music. With full details of the long-awaited report into the Downing Street lockdown parties, the opposition was on the attack.
Will the Prime Minister now take the opportunity and resign?
How on earth does he sleep at night?
Absolutely shameless.
All I can say is that I take full responsibility for what happened. I do, and we have made extensive changes.
Senior official Sue Gray detailed 16 illegal alcohol-fuelled parties at Downing Street when COVID restrictions were in full force. It states senior leadership at the centre, both political and official, must bear responsibility for this culture. It also cites multiple examples of a lack of respect and poor treatment of security and cleaning staff. Police have issued 126 fines. The Prime Minister, his wife and Chancellor Rishi Sunak among them. A small but vocal protest forming as the report was made public. Laura says during one of these parties her sister lay dying of COVID in hospital, unable to be seen by family.
It has brought back a lot of horrible feelings around that period of time, so I feel utterly sick.
The Prime Minister defended the comments he'd made previously at the House of Commons, saying at that time he believed what he was saying was true, that COVID rules were being followed at Downing Street. Today, he said clearly that wasn't the case.
A lot of the stuff that I saw in the report this morning, was news to me.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What a load of baloney. Excuse after excuse after excuse, and it simply doesn't wash, and it won't wash with the British public, who are sick and tired of being taken for fools.
But the public is divided.
It's abominable, and I think he's leading that abominable culture.
I'm not convinced Boris Johnson will ever learn his lesson, if I'm being honest.
No, I think he ought to continue and get on with the job.
Mr Johnson says he will not bow to pressure from the opposition to resign, maintaining changes have been made at Downing Street. Abby Dinham in London, SBS World News.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is facing growing calls for his resignation from within his own party in the wake of the report detailing parties at Downing Street during COVID lockdowns. The UK government today launched an extensive cost of living support package, but Boris Johnson couldn't avoid questions over the fate of his leadership.
A leadership cloud is closing in, but Boris Johnson is keen to assert it's business as usual, turning the attention to a $26 billion cost of living support package.
The high inflation we are experiencing now is causing acute distress for the people of this country.
In a policy U-turn, the package will be partially funded by a 25% windfall tax on oil and gas profits.
I am sympathetic to the argument to tax those profits fairly.
With every household in Britain to get a one-off payment of about $700 to help pay the power bill, 8 million of the lowest income families will get an additional $1,150.
For some households who are on perhaps minimum wages working full-time, with this extra support, if they're receiving some means-tested benefits, they'll actually be better off this year than last.
British consumer price inflation hit a 40-year high of 9% last month, with already high energy prices tipped to keep getting higher. But the one-off cash handout isn't a winner for everyone.
So I think, in my opinion, it's better to cut the costing increasing instead of giving £400.
For people who are making standard wages, it's going to be fairly tough.
The measure's designed to only last a year, on the hopes the cost of living crisis will have eased by then.
If energy prices remain high, it either means households will face a big squeeze next year, or alternatively, the Chancellor will have to dip into his pockets and find more again.
The cost of living support package has come as a welcome distraction for the Prime Minister as calls for his resignation grow louder. 4 MPs within his own party are calling for Boris Johnson to step down after the release of Sue Gray's report into lockdown parties at 10 Downing Street. Among those voicing their dissent, Conservative Party veteran John Barrett says he can no longer give the Prime Minister the benefit of the doubt. David Simmons says while the government enjoys the confidence of the public, the Prime Minister does not. And Stephen Hammond has indicated he sent a letter of no confidence, saying, "I cannot and will not defend the indefensible." The Prime Minister says he takes full responsibility for the parties held at his offices by staff members during the COVID lockdowns, but with a disclaimer, he didn't know about most of them.
He needs to resign because he put us all inside the house and he was doing party.
Who else are you going to get? He amuses me.
Police issued 126 fines for rules breaches at Downing Street. The Prime Minister received 1. Abby Dinham in London, SBS World News.